Okay, let's start. Welcome, Cohen Children Medical Center.
Thank you. Now to remind me, we have 5 minutes. Thank you.
We have 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, again, I'm Steve Barone again. I'm the program director and vice chair at Cohen Children's Medical Center. And we're located in New Hyde Park, which is basically on the Nassau-Queens border. It actually runs right through our campus. We would be considered one of the large children's hospitals I talked about previously. In fact, we're the largest provider of pediatric care in New York. We were recently ranked #1 by the US News and World Report for children's hospitals in the New York region. And we are part of a large health system called Northwell Health, which is a system of 19 hospitals dispersed throughout the lower New York region. It's where we get a lot of referrals from, and we are the centerpiece in regards to pediatric care of that health system. And if you watch America's Got Talent, our nurses just got to the finals, so please vote next week for them. We have a very diverse population, and I could probably claim the most diverse population in the United States based on the number of languages spoken in Queens. And that's where we get our primary care, and our tertiary care comes from throughout the region. We're the only helicopter transport service in New York, and we reach out to a great variety of areas to take care of really sick tertiary and quaternary care patients. We have a large faculty. We have a trauma service, which you may not think is that important for a pediatrician, but if you're interested in neurology, emergency medicine, or critical care, it gives our residents excellent experience. We have a Magnet Award nursing, which is pretty amazing. That's probably the highest award nurses can win. There's only about 36 children's hospitals in the world that have Magnet Award nursing, and we are the only one in New York. So terrific group of nurses. And we both our system and ourselves are very focused on wellness. In regards more specific, our curriculum, we have 4 or 5 pathways you can choose from. I used to call them tracks that got people nervous, and I started calling them pathways that got people nervous, and now I call them adventures. You have 5 different adventures you can choose from. We have very focused on research. Every year, 40 to 50 of our residents present at national meetings. We have 17 fellowships offered, all fellowships offered. If you look at the details of our program, 100 residents. We do accept about 2 to 3 preliminary residents each year. I think I've talked about our location, and finally our diversity initiatives. We've run for the last half dozen of years called Mentor, which is a program that for underrepresented minorities to help recruit and train and mentor them and actually help them to try to stay in academic medicine. As the dearth of underrepresented minorities in medicine as a whole, there's even a greater dearth in academic medicine. So they get together 4 to 5 times a year. I pay for dinners, and they have training sessions, and a lot of it's fun too. We have a whole what's called Heidi curriculum, health equity curriculum. We have 10 to 12 workshops a year focusing on diversity initiatives. Northwell was listed the last 2 years as the #1 health system in the United States for diversity. So I guess if awards count too, that kind of stands for what a health system is about. So I like to wrap up there and then hand it off to my colleagues. I think I've used my 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Barone. Next, we have a Stony Brook Children's Hospital.
Thank you so much. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Robin Blair. I'm the Peds Program Director at Stony Brook Children's. We are in Suffolk County, New York, on Long Island. I actually trained at Stony Brook both as a resident and as a medical student. And I started as an associate program director in 2006 and then became the program director in 2010. And I think everyone knows this about me. I absolutely love my job. I just love it here at Stony Brook in general. I think we have awesome residents and they're super fun to work with. We have great camaraderie here and that really makes everybody feel at home, which makes me happy coming to work every day. Faculty are truly dedicated to teaching at Stony Brook and they're interested in resident education through our academic center. I'm always interested in hearing what residents have to say about different aspects of our program to help make improvements. So those are the reason I love Stony Brook, but I think what's more important is what our residents think of our program, since you all will soon be residents yourselves. I have been asked to share with you a bunch of things from our resident recruitment committee. And so they wanted me to pass on a few of their favorite things about the program, which I've highlighted on the infographic. So one is our focus on wellness through multiple initiatives, including things like professional identity formation, and then more fun things such as events like our recent kayaking day or our upcoming surfing class that's this weekend, book club at the home of our associate program director, virtual cooking by one of our primary care docs, and a backyard retreat at the program director's house. So just a couple of examples. The next item they wanted me to share was our training program really serves a diverse patient population with a broad range of pathology, right from bread and butter cases to zebras. And that really prepares you for any career path in residency. So during your continuity clinics, you'll really have a chance to get to know the unique diversity in socioeconomic status, ethnicity, cultural background in the surrounding community. And our residents, faculty, and staff are equally as diverse, coming from a variety of backgrounds, speaking many different languages, and representing many different cultures. Our resident Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee works to really further enhance our own awareness of and the ability to act and promote equity in healthcare for our patients, as well as to promote these things in our professional environment as well. They also wanted me to share that they really love the mentorship and the access to faculty at Stony Brook. As a resident in our program, you'll select both a resident advisor and a resident mentor. And our residents become very close with their faculty advisors and get to know each other both inside and outside of work. All faculty have an open door policy. And as your program directors, associate program director, chiefs, all of us will be a great resource for you. In addition, our residents are well trained in scholarship, with many presenting their research nationally and even internationally. With the Academic Medical Center here and the university campus, there's a really strong foundation to support all types of academic pursuits. So you'll have the opportunity to teach medical students throughout your training, prepare you for a career in academic medicine if that interests you. And matter of fact, our upcoming Residents as Teachers retreat is in 2 weeks, where we really train our new interns and fellows, take them out for a full day from the clinical environment and train them on a variety of tools that are specific for teaching in medical education. And the last item was, we have a beautiful children's hospital that opened in late 2019 with lots of different amenities designed for children, including a live feed from our local aquarium that appears on giant flat screen TVs throughout the building and in the patient rooms. Kids can even change the color of their wall in their patient rooms. And one more word about Long Island. It's an amazing place to live. We have beaches, hiking, water sports, vineyards, food for every culture. If you're like me and you're a foodie, you can really find anything that you'd like here. Great seasons everywhere. So if you interview with us also, you'll get to see our really exciting tour of the hospital and the facility that I created for you. So I hope you choose to come and meet us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Blake. That sounds amazing. Now we have Goryeb Children's Hospital Atlantic Health System.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the great state of New Jersey. We are Goryeb Children's Hospital here at Atlantic Health System, which is located in Morristown, New Jersey. For those of you who do not know where Morristown, New Jersey is, we are what I like to call a bedroom community close to New York City, but still far enough away where you can sneak into the city, but sneak right back out and just have the calm and peaceness of the great state of New Jersey and the wonderful smells that we have. And I know that's a joke to some people, but we really do. We're a garden state and it's a beautiful state. With that being said, Goryeb Children's Hospital, we are a freestanding children's hospital that is attached to our community hospital, both at Morristown Medical Center as well as Overlook Medical Center that's located in Summit, New Jersey. We're a middle-sized program, so we have 36 residents total. We accept 12 residents each year. During that time period, we also focus in on several key elements. The first one that we focus in on is research. So even though we are a middle-sized program that's located within a community setting, we still have a robust research department, as well as all of our second and third year residents will have some scholarly activity that is being published. So either that will be presented at one of our conferences, our research conference, or they have been presented regionally as well as nationally. Also, we do have community training within not only our population that's a bedroom community, but it's so diverse. You'll be very surprised at how diverse New Jersey can be. For the state, and I know that a lot of my colleagues have talked about New York City and Long Island. When you think about New Jersey, the great thing is that you have a smaller state, but you have about 9 million people within the smaller state. So it's very condensed. It has so much diversity, not only within the patient population, but also in the pathology that we see. We tend to keep our patients here and not have to ship them out to other sources. We have a wonderful PICU that was just built. It is a 15-bed PICU that was recently established in 2018, 2019. And then we just recently also developed a children's center located at our Overlook Medical Center, which both house a new pediatric emergency department as well as a pediatric inpatient floor. In addition to that, we do have behavioral health training where we do focus on AIMS initiative. This is also in conjunction with working with the crisis unit to be able to have a better understanding. And for all of us who are pediatricians, we know we really do need to have more behavioral health training. We're seeing this even now so much more with COVID. And then finally, we have a global health curriculum. Our global health curriculum is so expansive. We have not only opportunities within Haiti, but we also have opportunities in Honduras, and some of our other residents have traveled to other different countries, African countries, European countries, to be able to participate within global health. Obviously with COVID, haven't been able to go this past year, but we're hoping that as COVID improves, hopefully, that we'll be able to send our residents out again. In addition to that, some of the key things that I wanted to highlight is our interns actually do rotate in the PICU. So not only do you have PICU in your second and third years required, but you also have that experience during your intern year. We also do have a very diverse training when it comes to not only thinking about our pediatric training, but also with OMT. So for our osteopathic physicians, we have an osteopathic manipulative medicine curriculum that we focus in on, that the residents, whether you're allopath or osteopath, you will go through the training for all 3 years. Finally, outside of that, we do have monthly social determinants of health series that we do. So when we are giving, whether it is grand rounds or whether it is the morning report, we have a focus in on social determinants of health. And then we also just recently introduced our minority clerkship for our visiting students to come in as well. That is already underway. outside of that, that I think is my 5 minutes. Thank you so much. I also wanted to introduce Kylie Alpert, our program coordinator. Just wait for the folks. And then also our chief resident is available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Winters, for your intervention. Now we have University of Rochester at Rochester, New York.
Hi, I'm Dr. Gallen. You heard from me a little bit earlier. My face looks really squashed in that picture on the slide there, which is really funny. My face is not that squashed in person. Hopefully you get a sense of that. No, but so you're going to hear a lot of things that overlap with some of the things that you've already heard. And so I'll particularly try to highlight some of the things that are unique about our program in Rochester. And so I think probably the most important thing for you to know is that this is a medium-sized program where you are going to feel like you have joined a new big family. You spend a lot of time at work, and so you want the people that you work with to be people that you care about and people that you enjoy spending time with. And if, you know, when we ask our residents, why did you choose Rochester? Almost every single person says, it's the feel of the program, and it's the people who are there. And so Rochester has this vortex. Once you come, sometimes you come and stay. I will warn you, because you tend to like, this is what happened to me. I came for residency and then I came and stayed. Some things about our program that are pretty unique. We talked about diversity, and one of the ways we're really able to tap into that patient diversity within our region is one, our Golysenal Children's Hospital, which is a freestanding children's hospital that is then connected by a hallway to our adult hospital and our medical school, is that, you know, it is a 17 county region referral center. And so that spans from Buffalo to Syracuse down to the Pennsylvania state border. And so we really have a very large catchment area. And what I talked about earlier with diversity from urban to rural, specific populations of patients, all of that applies to where we are. But the other thing is that in addition to spending time at a tertiary quaternary center, our residents also spend about 30% of their time at our community hospital, which is located about 15 minutes away. So you don't have a super long travel. You don't have to learn a new electronic health record. They use the same one. But it is a different learning that happens. What do you do when somebody comes that needs subspecialty care? Do you transfer them? Do you not? Do you keep them in their community? These are all questions that our residents really get that experience of. And also it gives them the experience of truly having autonomy. There is no physician in-house, attending physician in-house overnight outside of the emergency room. And so I promise you, you will always have supervision and support, but we also, our goal is to produce independent practitioners. And you will have that experience and you will understand what that means. And so when you graduate, you will be ready to be that independent practitioner. Some other things, we have a well-established track system, and you can see on there kind of all of the individualized options that you have. This is the choose your own adventure part of our program. And it really is based on what you would like to do. We don't have set locations for global health. We don't have a menu for research or for advocacy. It is, what do you care about and how can we make that happen for you? And we can do that because of our connection to a larger university and a larger research institution. And so when we think about mentors for residents, it really spans the University of Rochester, not just the Department of Pediatrics or Golysenal Children's Hospital. And so you really kind of have that breadth of pediatrics. You have the ability to dive deep in areas that you want. And specifically around our tracks, our what we call our care track, which is our advocacy track, really is a national model for how to train residents to do community level advocacy. And it has been for many years, and it has been replicated in some other programs. I think some unique things about our curriculum is that we have 2-week blocks. Now, some people are like, oh my gosh, that feels like you're transitioning so often, but I will tell you that that means that you're only doing night flow for 2 weeks, right? If you're on that rotation that you're like, oh my gosh, I can't stand this, whatever it is, you only have to do it for 2 weeks. And we certainly do have some purposeful back-to-back rotations to give you more longitudinal experiences in some of our areas. Similar to what Dr. Winters was talking about, you do get a chance to go to PICU in your intern year. And there's some other unique things that you can see in terms of curriculum up on this slide that I won't repeat. I mentioned we're a medium-sized program for categorical peds, but we also have child neurology residents. We have a fairly large med peds program, and half of them are on pediatrics at any one time. So I promise you have lots of colleagues. And, one of the things that you can see there is when I say we prepare our residents to do whatever they want to do, I think under that details section, when it talks about, right, if you look at our graduates over the past 10 years, half of them go into fellowship, about half of them go into primary care. Hospitalist has its own sliver because it wasn't a fellowship until just recently. When it comes to our diversity initiatives, I will say there are too many to account here in a span of just a couple minutes. I think what I will tell you instead is that our program really undertook an entire anti-racism action plan last summer. And so that spanned many things. It spanned culture, curriculum. It spanned really kind of how we treat each other, not just putting in curriculum. And so if you come interview with us, you can hear more about the details of that. And finally, I will say, Rochester is a beautiful place to live. If you like seasons, there are things to do each of the 4 seasons. Summer, in a typical non-COVID year, you will have to fill your calendar with way too many festivals because there are often more than one each weekend. If you like outdoors, you have a lake, and so you can go to the beach. I know it's not the ocean, but there still is beach. We're just above the Finger Lakes, which not only include beautiful lakes and hiking areas, but fantastic wineries. And we're also an area that our brewery section is up and coming. So if that's something that you enjoy, there's lots of that. So obviously I got sucked into the vortex. I am here for a reason. And I hope you come and experience some of that vortex with me.
Thank you, Dr. Jelling, for your participation. Now we have anybody from Jacobi Medical Center. Okay, then. Now we are moving to the questions. So if there is any from the quorum that would like to ask something to the faculty, feel free to raise your hand or unmute yourself.
Guys, it's very natural to be shy. Just start out, someone ask a question and we'll roll.
Hi, I saw that a lot of programs have initiatives in community health and advocacy. Could you give examples of how even some programs, even as interns, had residents involved in community health? So in what ways? Thank you.
Nadia, would you want to go around the horn each of the programs?
Doctors, feel free if you want to take this question, just go ahead.
Okay, well, maybe good for everyone to have an opportunity. So in our program, if you notice, we do have a month-long community medicine rotation in which we try to rotate you into some of our clinics, not necessarily associated with the hospital, but some of our clinics associated with refugees. We send you to school districts to teach. We get you involved with WIC centers. And unfortunately, a lot of these things went virtual the past 2 years because people don't want those centers, but we've been able to maintain that program. We also started a program with initiatives with legislators. We want to get involved with legislators, and actually our noon conference tomorrow is one with the New York State Legislature. And we have a number of residents have won catch grants. If you read the AP catch grants, involved in advocacy.
All right, I could tell you about Stony Brook. We too have actually one of our future chiefs who's on right now is very involved in advocacy for the AAP. And we also send residents to the AAP meeting every single year. We support residents from each class, at least one resident from each class. We have a 8-week longitudinal community advocacy rotation where you take part during your second and your third year. And you do many of the same things Dr. Brown mentioned. So you go to Child Advocacy Center and learn about child abuse cases and how they're handled through the court system and through the physical exam aspects as a physician. You get to go to local schools. And even during COVID, we've been still doing like virtual teaching with local schools, participating in activities with local daycares and subspecialty type of preschools, just many different things in the community, places where you'll find children going for resources such as women's, infants, children's, food banks, whatever it might be that people might need that you might not be familiar with. You get to have an exposure, foster care, Head Start, all those types of things.
At Goryeb, we actually are part of the New Jersey Pediatric Residency Advocacy Collaborative. So this is a collaborative among all of the pediatric residency programs in the state, which is 9 of us. In addition to that, we don't have a specific curriculum because we want to integrate advocacy throughout your entire 3 years. So when you meet with us during your intern year within the first couple of weeks, we are asking you at that point in time, not only what is your research interest, but what is also your advocacy interest. And we want to spur that interest and be able to provide you with the tools to be able to continue on the advocacy work throughout your entire time. So we know that advocacy is important, whether you're in the PICU, whether you're out in the clinics, whether you are out and about in your own private life outside of work. Advocacy should be who you are. And that's what we want to spur for you. So that's what we provide for you. And we also have a relationship with what we have here in New Jersey called the Family Success Centers. These are centers that are established by the Department of Child and Youth Services. And so its primary focus is to mitigate child neglect and abuse. During that time period, we have established things such as a program that I have started, which is called Hip Hop with a Doc, where we actually teach hip hop dance to be able to mitigate childhood obesity. And we encourage folks to come in. Actually, Just Leteri, our chief resident, who's also a ballerina by training, has also offered with her dance services. So we do a myriad of things such as for advocacy.
And then at Rochester, as an intern, you have a required rotation that's called Pediatric Links with the Community. And as the name suggests, the entire rotation is in the community. There are definitely some reflection pieces that go along with it, but it really is understanding our patient population and the challenges that it faces. It is really seeing firsthand what our amazing community-based organizations are doing every day. Because the reality is you need to partner with the community to really affect change for patients who are struggling with various sources of resources when you think about your social determinants of health. And so that's kind of your kickoff. We also have an Advocating for Advocacy series as part of our noon conference series. And that's something that actually was started by a group of our advocacy residents and has perpetuated after their graduation. And so that really is things like that could be anything from hearing about a current residence project to bringing in the mayoral candidates to actually hear what they stand for around children's health issues, to understanding some of, again, resources for community-based advocacy, or how do you do legislative advocacy and bringing in experts around those topics. And then, of course, if you choose to do the advocacy training track, that's a much more longitudinal experience where you directly partner with a community-based organization to affect change. And there's lots of examples of that you can look at our website on that. I don't want to take up all the time to talk about that.
I have a question coming from the chat. And what resources does your program provide for board preparation?
I guess we want to go around the horn again. So starting as a second year, I break up all the residents into groups of 5, and they meet once a week with a board preparation person. We go through the whole American Board of Pediatric curriculum. We call it Teaching at 2. I could do it in large groups, but I think we better prepare in small group sessions. So I run these sessions Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it's run every day on a particular topic. Then as third years, I meet with the third years. twice a week and teach them at a higher level, while the first and second years attend morning report. So that's what we do in our program.
Okay, at Stony Brook, we have a board review course that runs for all third years, what any year can attend. That's really to prepare them when they're really getting ready to finish up residency and move on and take their boards. But board prep really starts in year one, and we give them all the content specifications in year one, and then we have preparation by our chief residents during didactic sessions. They do preparatory questions through either the AAP prep curriculum, and we also use the True Learn curriculum. And this year we're actually starting a weekly fun kind of quiz with some prizes that usually center on like candy and food and things like that that residents like. All in fun, just to really motivate them to focus on board prep, because it really is quite different from the clinical medicine in many ways. And we train them on test taking strategies. And actually next week, I'm doing a workshop for our residents on just study strategies in general and how to get the most out of your study time, considering you guys are super busy.
Similar to Dr. Barone and Dr. Blair's program, I'm sure at Dr. Gallen's program, we all focus in on board prep as part of our curriculum. Not only do we do similar work with having a board prep program that we set up for our third years, but we also start this during our first year as well. We have academic half days for our didactics. And during that time period, for each academic half day, there are board prep sessions that we have where we would go over different board questions. In addition to that, we also incorporate things such as our prep questions through the AAP. We also provide resources for them. It used to be a New Jersey, New York AAP board prep series that was done, which was recently canceled, but we have moved on to encouraging our residents to also take on the AAP prep, the CRAM course as well. That's usually done in August.
And then again, you'll hear, I get to go last, so I can just say ditto. No, but we have a noon conference series that is really, I'll answer the other one in the chat. And we have a noon conference series that is really focused on the board prep curriculum. Our residents do get the AAP prep curriculum for questions to be able to do those. And many times questions are actually embedded within the noon conference series. After a certain segment is done, you kind of go over questions related to that segment. So if you just did GI, you did a whole bunch of GI questions. In addition to that, we have a board review series, again, similar to what Dr. Blair said. It's mainly focused on the third years, but anyone who wants to come can come to that. And then, finally, I think some of it is individualized. And so if there are people who know that they struggle with test taking strategies, we're going to give them more support and help in doing that. Versus people who seem to do fine with taking standardized tests. We don't have to spend as much time preparing them with certain things. So some of it is going to be individualized based on what each person needs.
Thank you, doctors. And any advice for the upcoming interview virtual season?
Karen, you want to go first because we keep on.
Yeah, Karen, you should do that.
Sure. Then you can ditto me. No, I think, I saw some of these questions in the chat, and I think the reality is that there's a lot of similarities between a lot of programs, which I suspect you've already gathered. And so find your fit, pay attention to your gut feeling. I think most people who choose which program they rank highest on their list often comes down to gut feeling. And I will tell you, don't be afraid to go that way. I think if you talk with most physicians, they will mention some version of that. And so you want to find the place. It's not about changing you to fit into a program. It is finding the program that likes you for who you are. And when you're able to do that, you're going to have a fantastic residency experience no matter where you go. You've heard about 4 amazing programs tonight, and there are many, many more amazing programs. And so, I think be true to you and find the place that fits you the best.
I thought that was beautiful, actually.
I'm right there with you, Dr. Blair. I was going to say the same thing. And I was also going to say, which was also mentioned in the chat, not trying to steal your thunder, Nadia, which was about cutoff scores and about step one being pass or fail, or we focusing more on step two. The thing that I would tell you is that the best advice I can give you is shoot your shot. I know it sounds very crazy, but please don't let things like that scare you. We have to put cutoff scores on certain things because we just can't. It's an impassable button to press when we're uploading our information. But I will always say, if it seems like a program that's a good fit, just like Dr. Gellin has said, by all means, shoot your shot. Reach out to us. You will be surprised at the people that we will be interested in, because just the same way as you are trying your hardest to impress us, we are trying our hardest to impress you. We need you. So always, by any means, shoot your shot. You'll be surprised.
What I always tell my Hofstra students is there's no best program. There's the best program for you. And your deans, your friends may lead you a little astray in that matter. So really go with what you find is the best program for you. And a lot of times it comes down to geography, right? Exploring, going to a lot of places sounds cool now in September, October, but when you go to the home for the holidays in December, and you hang out with your family, you're going to realize that families are important. So take into account both your personal life. It's okay. You don't have to always look professional, and find where that professional, personal balance is for you, right? And it's not, if you look for the best program, there is no such thing. It's the best program for you.
Yeah, being last is hard. I don't have too much to add, except my initial comments were going to be, really, guys, be yourself and see what just attracts you. When, be yourself at a program and see how well you feel like you're going to fit in. And even though these are virtual interviews, I was so worried about that the first year or last year when we did this. How are we going to really show them who we are? How are they going to get that feeling? And honestly, you just do. You get the feeling by spending the day going through your interviews, meeting faculty, meeting residents, hearing from everyone, and you'll walk away with that feeling. And if you come interview at Stony Brook, I'm going to tell you this, so sorry for repeating, but write it down, because you're going to go to a lot of places. So write down how you felt, what you loved, what you didn't love, what you might want to think about, comparing to other programs. And then in the end, you'll look back at that list and everything will come flooding back to you. So that's my advice.
Thank you, doctors. I'm getting so emotional right now. I also have a question from the chat asking if the residents are paired with mentors since the beginning, or it's just like in second year, third year?
Yes, and all. So yes, we pair you initially with both a senior resident and a faculty member, but often the best mentorship comes from shared interests. And so while that person may start as your mentor, your pool of mentors, not your individual mentor, will grow throughout your training based on what are the things that are important to you.
I would kind of echo that. In my program, you come in on day one, you're assigned an advisor, and I use the term differently than a mentor and advisor. They're going to be looking at your here and now during your program, how your evaluations going, your research, etc. And then you collect mentors. So I don't think mentors should have an evaluative function. I think that should be for your research, to be friends that guide you in future careers. So I think, as Dr. Gellin said, you will collect mentors. And I think that's an important question when you go on your interview, is how's the mentorship? I think that's a good high level question to ask PDs and residents.
And the other thing I was going to mention about mentorship, which we do, is very similar. Oh, 60 seconds left. Okay, long story short, mentors can come and go. They are meant for a season. Some are meant for longer than others. So just always remember that. And okay, 46 seconds. Go, Dr. Blair.
Okay, so you'll get a mentor and an advisor at our program, and you select them. But just like everyone else, whoever your advisor or mentor is, isn't the only person that you're going to be connecting with. You're going to form bonds with so many different people for so many different types of things.